This podcast is brought to you by Hoare Chartered Accountants. Hoare Chartered Accountants are based in Galway City and are a leading provider of audit, accountancy and taxation services. For more information, visit hoarecharteredaccountants.ie. Now you're welcome along to the Maroon and White pod. So it's a big weekend this weekend for Ballinasloe and Meelick Eyrecourt as they chase Connacht titles in the junior and intermediate hurling championships. I'm delighted to be joined by Cyril Farrell. Um, First off, Cyril, obviously I think it's this Friday officially. County teams are allowed back on the pitch and back training. Obviously, we've heard over the last few weeks, well, a lot of rumblings going on of who's, I suppose, got that call in since the club championship for the Galway seniors.
Yeah, which is, as you say, it is only rumours. There's no official list. I haven't seen any list, any of the panelists in, but I'm sure they'd all be on programs, in the gym programs. But I suppose there could even be kind of programs probably in different pods. I don't know, but there's no official list yet. There's kind of some people say such lad is in, such lad is gone. We don't know who's. You don't know, say, of the older gang who's staying on or not, or who's gone. The only one that we know is gone, I suppose, is Jason Flynn, who announced his retirement. There hasn't been anything else, many of the other players that are there for a while. But look, there's plenty of guys in the county. I think Micheál and these background team have to shake it up this year, and kind of they will have to try to put in a few new lads and bring a bit of energy back into the team.
You obviously did a lot of games throughout the club championship with the stream and everything. Have you seen enough players this year maybe that you feel that weren't there last year that could potentially be involved this year?
Yeah, there's a young Hanran lad there in Loughrea, very good cornerback, like a fresh fella. There's lads there no more. Rory Buckley's had been in there, but not been really used. Ronan Murphy in Larkin's, great player. Don't know whether he's in or not, but he's your brother Vane is the goalie, and these guys are good hurlers and they're seasoned. They're not under 20, if you know what I mean. They're in their prime really, And you still got the Fahey's there, and sure, Cathal Mannion's playing out of his skin. But I don't know. There's no one. I don't know who's in. I wasn't. I wouldn't be party who's in or out. But you won't know until you see a few matches. And you see, Paul, this year at least to have the Welsh Cup to start off in January and to be trying out these fellas, and you'll be able to see them then in action.
Yeah, it definitely does feel like the likes of Kieran Lean, Aaron Ireland, Jason Rabbit, all these players that we probably will see them, you'd think, in a more significant role this year.
Yeah, the only thing is Rabbit and Lean, these could be under 20, and if they are, you're as well off to leave them to develop there, let them do it there first. But there's no doubt about it, Jason Rabbit will be a good find. When he fills into his frame, Kieran Lean is a good hurler, but there's plenty of good lads out there. It's a matter of kind of what the lot of them have been in and out, but not really on. It's kind of putting the team together. But I think Micheál and the lads will have to do that this year. And even if they've got a lovely draw. You have 3 games at home. One of the games away is Kildare. With all due respects, that's as good as a home game. The only kind of tough one you have away, I think, is Wexford. The rest are at home for the Leinster Championship. So it's a great draw. And I see them being right involved again. Okay, with new players, but new players, Paul, can bring you life and bring you enthusiasm. And if you start getting the win or two with new players, the whole thing can roll.
A lot of people probably talking, sir, about Cian Daniels maybe potentially as someone really impressive club championship. Coming from your own club, do you think he'd be someone that can go in there?
Oh yeah, he's gone in there. I think he's supposed to be in there anyway. There's rumours that he is. This guy is a guy that takes his hurling very serious. He's come up to the ranks here. Didn't get any call for underage. You know what I mean? Maybe got called, didn't make any underage, but he has developed and he's very good in there. Good to read the game, and if he gets game time, he will kind of grow in. He'll blossom. He's a good fella. Just that he's a bit, he hasn't that much experience yet. But he's a good hurler. He's one for the future as well. There's plenty of these guys around. It's a matter of the young lad in Loughrea as well. Morgan, the centre back there, kind of a good hurler as well. They have a lot of hurlers, there's lads flying around the place. But it's a matter of putting them together, Malai from Leitrim is still good. These guys are all well at the hurl, Matlock from Rotunda, but they have been in and out. They haven't been kind of settled on a team, like Burdens from Loughrea. These guys well at the hurl, good hurlers now. Tiernan Killeen, he'd be still, there's a couple of Killeens, another lad there, lad midfield, but you have to put them together and they have to get a chance to play together, and you have to put your faith in them. You know what I mean? You can't just give them and blow them away again. You have to you have to give them kind of time and build them up. And I think you have to build a new team really.
That's the thing, isn't it? It's probably building a new team and a consistent team because I don't think last year, and even probably maybe with Henry previously in his last year, as you mentioned, there's probably been a lot of chopping and changing for those younger fellas, and even I suppose if you take it back to Tipperary, those young lads were in from the start of I suppose the league, and we've seen how they developed.
Yeah, like, and you see, if you give a young lad a chance, Paul, like, and then he's gone the next game, you kind of have to put faith in him, like, Daniel Loftus, these guys, they're in there, but they're not getting kind of game time. And like the time has come now, I think, when you have to give them game time. Like it's you have to build a new team, as I say, like, and the lads that have there a long time, they've given their all. But if you keep playing the same guys and keep getting beaten, sure you're going to get the same results all the time. I'd expect a new team, and look at there's nothing that would frighten you. Like in Leinster, anyway, they're all okay, but there's none of them kind of unbeatable. On our day, if we get a team going, we're capable of beating any of them, Paul.
It'll be interesting to see Michaud's formation of the panel because if you take it back to when he was there previously, the second year, he did make a lot of, I suppose, changes.
Ah, yeah, and sure, they know the scene set out himself, like, and himself, Freddie Ford, and Noel Larkin, and Aidan Hart, and they have Cyril Donlan in there now, like, as well. Like, they're like they're involved and they see all the teams playing and they've been at all the matches, and like, the club championship is, well, is good. It isn't over for Loughrea, but it's over for nearly everyone else. So they've seen them all, and so like they'll put their best. Like, if you get the best 26 or 30 in, Paul, after a while the team will nearly pick itself. But it's important to get the best guys in. If you don't get
Mhm.
the best guys in, you see, young guys are kind of different now. If they're not getting game time, they might be like way back a bit. They'll hang around the whole. But now there's so much life going on that, well, if they're not going to get game time, might even be slow going in there. Saying, what's the point going in training for 6 months to a year and get no game, like not getting any chance. Now, if they win, they probably get a chance. But I'm talking about kind of a real chance to get 2 or 3 or 4 games in a row. So, like, that's where the modern thing is. You have to kind of go with the youth really, like, and give them the chance.
Is this year in particular, sir, where it just has to be a Leinster title as you look, even if you're looking at the schedule in this year, I suppose to not have Dublin as the last game for, I'd say, since the start around Robin series is obviously a big boost, but obviously getting to a Leinster final last year is now the year to push on and finally get our hands back on one.
Yeah, I really believe any year, Paul, in Leinster, the way it is, like, we have a great chance of winning if we get our game going at all. Now, we've been disappointed the last few years, but like, like the draw this year again, as I say, we have 3 games at home and the 2 games away are against Wexford and Kildare. And like, with all due respects, Kildare you'd be expecting to beat, you know what I mean, that it's nearly as good as a home game. Now, you still have to go out and do it, but like, it's still a big plus being at home. And I have no doubt that Michael and the lads will be looking at that. Okay, they'll use the Welsh Cup. And I'd love to see them going well in the league. You start winning matches in the league and build up a bit of confidence. And it does no harm at all to win a league title or even to get into the final to kind of get good games like under the belt.
Yeah, the league does feel like it's really important this year.
It is, because you're going to have, to me, you're going to have a lot of new lads coming in, or lads biting at the bit. Hopefully, they will be biting at the bit, and like, that's what you want. And if you get a run, like, winning, I'm not saying it can become a habit, but like, you can get into a groove of winning as well as the same as a groove of losing. But I expect the lads to treat the league serious this year. Like, okay, they'll be trying out there, but like, every fella that's on a panel should be good enough to play. You know what I mean? Okay, he might be number 15 or he could be number 22, but the number 22 lad should be as good as the 15, really, if you have the right lads in. That's what you should have on the panel.
Yeah, even just thinking with it being restructured as well, and obviously you have Clare and Dublin down in the other division, but the 7 teams, it's quite competitive this year as well.
Well, that's what you want. You're getting good games, and if a fella is there to play well against Tip or Limerick or like these guys, that you're going places. Like, and even to look at this time last year, Tip were kind of, even Tip, you were saying, they were kind of half in disarray. And look what happened when they got kind of a good for young lads on the team, got a bit of enthusiasm going again with a lot of the regular guys as well. But like, definitely new guys came on and kind of made the new team really, and started to win. And all of a sudden, their year takes off and to wind up. Like, if you asked any of them last year, they would have been in All Ireland. They wouldn't probably say yes to be doing their best, but they wouldn't have been, no, you're the favourites even to come out of Munster to be getting it hard enough. But out they came and won the All Ireland was a kind of, well, it was a new team. Like you had a Norman, like Ormond, brand new playing centre forward. You had McCarthy, young lad playing corner forward, got hurled, young hurler of the year. You had the Dye lad, a new lad playing corner back. You had O'Farrell playing midfield, a wing for another youth fella. Like these all brought Connolly, the wing. These all brought a new energy to the team. You know what I mean? You still had the Ronan Mahers these days, but there's the new lads coming on that brought that energy and kind of give it a new impetus.
Do you expect there will be more retirements with the older players? Obviously, no one
I don't
really.
know. I don't know really. I don't know.
Yeah,
You know, the age wouldn't worry me if they're good enough. Like if you're good,
yeah.
the age shouldn't matter whether you're 19, 18, or whether you're 34 or 5. That doesn't matter. You see international teams playing with fellas 35 or 36. But if you're good enough, the age doesn't matter. But just to have the appetite and have the pace. Like pace is very important now in the modern game, Paul. If you haven't pace, you're kind of caught. You have to have the pace. Okay, you have to have the skill and everything else. But like the pace is very important. Okay, you go to the gym, you build up the body strength, and you're able to take tackles or give tackles, and you have the torque, so it's perfect. But if you haven't got the pace, that's as important as the other ingredients. The modern game, you really have to have it.
The one big one really you'd be thinking would be obviously David Burke. He came back and recommitted last year, but that's really his own decision. You'd imagine really like if God would be delighted to have him back, but then obviously it depends, I suppose, how his body is for this year.
Yeah, sure, he's given great service to both the club and county. Like, you know, he's still going strong. Like, it wasn't talking to him now lately. You'd bump into him now and again, but lately I didn't see him. That's just a county final anyway, like, you know, so there hasn't been any word, but I'm sure, like, Micheál and the lads, they'll probably meet him, you know what I mean, have a chat and see how the body is and see how they're fixed, you know. To be the same for a few lads like that. Like, to be fair to me, all of them, they'd probably chat it out with him before they do anything.
Yeah, yeah. It it does feel like even if you're looking from an All Ireland race point of view, it's it's fairly open. Like even I know Tipperary All Ireland champions, but there's obviously you have Limerick, Cork, Clare are going to come in Munster, Waterford are going to come, Kilkenny are going to come again. It does feel like it's open this year.
Very, very open. Most open for years. Like you'll even find the bookies don't be fair around usually, but you'll find they probably haven't even, I don't know, but they probably haven't tipped as favourites, if you know what I mean, even though they're all Ireland champions. Like to come out of Munster, like you have to have everything spot on. It's hard to come out, and Clare will be biting at the bit. They will feel they didn't do themselves justice at all last year. You know what I mean? Now, okay, things went wrong, but they'll regroup. You're going to find, say, that the Tony Kellys, the O'Donnells, these guys aren't going to, none of them are going to retire the way it went. You know, maybe they were thinking of it before and if they had a good year, but not the way the year went. They won't want to go out that way.
Yeah. It- Even before we look at the club action, you imagine Galway are going to be fairly busy the next few weeks with the challenge match circuit.
Ah, yeah. Well, I don't know about the challenges before Christmas. Like you'll have Lock Race still occupied. You have a lot of teams still occupied, but like definitely early after, probably just doing the training. But after they'll start in January with the Welsh Cup things. Like, and you're talking about the championship. Look at Cork where they are. Like last year, getting to an All Ireland final, hot favourites, and next thing come out in going at half time, 6 points up. And if you were told at half time, Paul, that one team is going to win by 15 points, it wouldn't be tip you'd be saying. So you'd be imagined to be Cork being up to six that they're the ones, if you were told some one team is going to win by 15, so and they didn't. So they're starting again, but they still have very, very good hurlers, like, and they'll be biting, they'll be mad for road. So like to even get out of Munster, but like to call, you know, they will feel if they get back in there again that won't happen again. Now Ben O'Connor's gone in and he'll have his own ideas, he'd know the ins and outs, like, and Pat Ryan, as far as I was concerned, a very good manager. I think he could have stayed on, but he probably felt he had enough time or had enough given and brought the team as much as he could. But like they're going to be interested next year. You couldn't count him out of anything.
Just looking at the overall context then of the club championship, were you impressed with the standard overall this year, the Galway Senior Hurling Championship?
Oh yeah, there's some great matches. Okay, like the latter ends, those tough games in the sense that the weather was tough as well. But even the county final, Paul, unless you were there, people say looking ahead on streamer and whatever they're looking at, like unless you're there, you didn't realize how bad the standards very high for the conditions that were there. Like it was a strong, cold breeze, terrible heavy showers, torrential rain when it fell, pitch greasy. Like it was in good condition, but like all the land was wet. It didn't matter, and like that was a tough evening. Good standard, like you know, and like you had good games all through. Like this, our standard, like I'd expect Loughrea to hold up our standard well on the outside. Like if you're looking at the Kilkenny matches or the Clare matches, and they look very good and they're very tough and all this, but you wouldn't be blown away by them. Like I think Loughrea will do very well in the championship.
Yeah, Paul Hubban was on last week and he was talking about the, I suppose, quarter-final weekend, and he said it was just a fantastic weekend of Galway hurling and it really showed what the championship was about. And it's probably one of the best weekends we had in an overall context of one weekend because the margins in all those quarter-finals were so tight.
Yeah, should look at Sassis could have won, got caught with a goal last minute. My own club, Tommy Larkins, were looking to get caught with a goal in the last puck as well, more or less. All the games turned up, they were all tight. Clare Bridge had, was it 6 or 7 at one stage, second half up on the Loughrea and got caught in the end. There's plenty of clubs would be saying, oh God, if only they did this or that. Like the standard is there's very little, a small break here and there can make you or break you. And it'd be interesting to see how Loughrea do, but I'd expect them, like, they have won a cup, like, say, beating Clare Bridge, Turlock, and then Thomas's. So, like, they've won a great cup when you consider the top teams they've beaten on the way. There's no fluke there. So you'll find that they will hold their own in the club championship now in the All Ireland series.
Yeah, special for them to do two in a row as well, and even the squad they're developing there too. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, which the thing is, like Thomas had done 6 row, became a powerhouse and a power, like in Galway and in Ireland, and now, like, Loughrea have a chance of becoming a powerhouse as well because they've won back to back. That's the two, and they're going for a triple. Like, and they have good hurlers all around the pitch, and they have a very good panel. There's lads on the subs that be on other club teams, but, like, you'll find it's still hard to do it. But, like, they didn't early on in the season, Paul. They weren't going that well, but once they got into their groove, you know they showed what they have, and they could. Like, to me, they'll have a right good chance in the club championship. So next year they'll be still hard to beat next year.
I was I was fascinated listening to Paul Hoban last week. He was saying that Kieran Hanrahan and Tiernan Killeen haven't had any other manager in since they picked up a hurl with Loughrea other than Tommy Kelly.
Yeah, they probably came up through the squads together. I wouldn't know the under 8 team as well as the senior team. Yeah, that could happen. But, like, Tommy is good management, has learned, like, has got a good experience with different teams in Dublin and Clare and that, but has built up a good coach and, good people around him, which is what you want. They have a very big backroom team. Like, if you go looking at all the names, there's a wide, different, different folks for different strokes, but they're all working together. Like, and like, they didn't come overnight, Paul. They've
Mm.
come the hard way. Like, they've been in finals and, lucky to lose finals and replays. That's how they felt themselves. Just to get the break of the ball. But eventually, when they got the thing, they were ready this year. That was like that team was ready. And again, it shows you how hard it is to beat Thomas's because, like, Thomas's for once in a county final were well out hurled, and yet by the end of the game there was only a point in it.
Yeah. Slaughtneil St. John's to come. It's December 20th, in that All Ireland semi-final. It's good in one sense for Loughrea. Obviously, they can probably go back in now, do a bit of hard training, and have a good look at this Ulster final.
Yeah, I'd expect Slaughtneil to come through. Like, they're seasoned, they've been around the block, they're fit, like, they're strong, they have some very good hurlers. Yeah, but I don't think Loughrea will figure any of them. Now, to be interested to see where the match is played, though, Paul, that's a big bearing on it, But Loughrea have a very balanced team. They won't, like, physically they're not that, they're not that robust in the sense that it's all hurling. Okay, you have kind of the maturity, I'll say, of Johnny Cohen and Paul Hogan, but the rest of them are they're like a college team, but they play good hurling, like against Thomas's. They kind of did to Thomas's what Thomas's have done to a lot of teams in county final. They swung the ball around, great kind of wing play from wing to wing, and, like, they had Thomas's more or less chasing them all through, which is a sign that they were on top, really. Like, and you know the mystery was it even going in at halftime how they were more up, and at the end of the match, like, there was nothing in it. But once they've got that out now, say back to back, like, they'll have a right good go, and then, like, it's kind of fallen right. With all due respects to Ulster, it'd be far harder playing Munster or Leinster than Ulster. You'd have to beat kind of twice. To me, they're going to be in the All Ireland final, and then even though the other sides look good, and you're probably going to wind up probably with. With
But looking like Ballygunner, Ballyhale potentially.
other Ballyhale, but only one of them is going to come through. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It doesn't like, they are good, but it doesn't. It doesn't matter. And I keep coming back to the match between Ballygunner and Thomas there a few years ago. We were going up to Port to the match, and we were up there early, and it was the Ballygunner crowd were there first, and they couldn't see themselves beaten, and there were a lot of people talking and very confident. I was saying to Sean Welsh, did they realise what's going to hit them? Like they didn't seem to have, they weren't. To me, they weren't they weren't waiting Thomas's until the thing started, and then they found out like you're in a different ball game altogether. Like and that's Loughrea will know what they have to do, and like that's the standard that Thomas have set. And like Thomas have up, you see, with Thomas is going so well, Paul, they've upped the standard of club hurling and goal because everyone realised if we ever have to get through, you're going to have to be as good as them or better than them to beat them. So it has brought up everyone's standard really. It's up to everyone else to get up there. Now Loughrea have got up there now, and it's up to everyone else to try to get up to the top as well.
Yeah, even if Loughrea think back to last year, like entering into this All Ireland series, they'll realise how close they were too when it came to that in the Feeney game as well.
Oh yeah, they will feel they should have beaten the Fianna. They had a chance to beat them. Like, but it's more or less the same team, but it's a different team in the sense, Paul. It's way more experience. They have that experience behind them. They've seen what the Fianna did, went on to win the All Ireland. But like you look at the Fianna this year, to me in the county final in Dublin, I thought they were very lucky to beat local Sarsfields, and then they were unlucky the last day, to lose to the boys from St. Martin's and Wexford. So you need the breaks on the way. But like last year's semi-final defeat will be a big help to Loughrea this year.
Yeah, it definitely feels like. Obviously, with that, you'd expect Slaughtneil to, I suppose, come out Ulster. There will be a big test coming though from Slaughtneil too. It's safe
Oh
to
yeah.
say.
Well, they're very hard to beat. The northern teams, especially if you have to go up, if you travel up the north to play them, they're hard to beat. Very organised, and like they treat the hurling up there, those that played nearly more than like it's a religion, if you know what I mean. They're more. I'm not saying they're more serious about, it, but they're very passionate. They just have this kind of a thing, and up there they're very aggressive up there. They're all against them. Look down here, they seem to be okay when they come down, but I'm telling you, they're aggressive up there. You know, I remember Athenry a good few years ago going up there to play. I don't know which team it was, but in the tunnel before the game, just waiting for the teams to come out. In their dressing room, they had a nation once again being played loud and clear, and it was chanting, and you like went out, and anything that moved were really kind of tearing into it. It's hard to win against them. It's hard, especially to win up in the north. But like Loughrea have a good hurling team. They're capable, no matter who comes through, like they're capable of beating them.
Can just considering, I suppose, where Galway hurling is at the minute, it would be huge to have Loughrea in an All Ireland final too, wouldn't it?
Ah, yeah, but like but that club hurling in Galway, like all is strong, and the underage hurling is strong in Galway. Like there was matches this year between Moore and Loughrea under 20 in Ballinasloe. Good as hurling as you'd see. Replays, minor games, great hurling as well. Like now we're not showing the county, but like it's up to the lads over, like the management to get the right lads going. They're not far off. Look at this. There's plenty of hurlers in Galway. It's just a matter of giving them the chance and put the team together. It's not that easy, but as I say, if you have the 26 or 30 best lads in, that's that's the secret, really. If you have the best fellas in, the team will click.
And you can see Loughrea lifting a club All Ireland this year, can you?
I can, yeah. And like, okay, there's a very bad going to look very, very good, but they play a system. But I think Blackray wouldn't have any problem playing that system. They're as seasoned as anyone. They have as good a hurlers as anyone as well.
If we just I suppose take a look at this weekend, Meelick Eyrecourt make the trip to Hyde Park against Turin. Um Turin obviously coming through really impressively last weekend against Gabriel's. Teen obviously stopped Turin's dominance last year, and Meelick Eyrecourt to be hoping to do similar this weekend.
Yeah, like Torino, very seasoned, Paul. Like, and like last year against Tina, they lost it, got an injury or two as well. But it was tit for tat for most of the game. Like, and Tina were experienced. Now, Turin seemed to be stronger this year. I thought Gabriel's over in London would run them much tighter, and they were really blown away. But this Meelick Aircourt team is seasoned. They're not young. They're around a while. Like Lawless is a good goalie. Corcoran's playing full back, playing very, very steady the last day. You have the Downies there in the back line as well. Gohary one wing and Tracy another wing. They're solid. Then you have the two Flemings kind of between midfield and the forwards, and you have McAvoy inside, Airner inside, Gohary, Hines in the wing, Lyons in the wing. These are seasoned. They're not a young team, like they're around a while. Like Meelick Aircut every year in Gaul would be fancy to win that intermediate, and it goes to show how hard it is to win it. and eventually then they get through. And you could see the emotion that it showed, like to the people. Like they had a fantastic turnout when they went home because like they're they're trying for this for so long and being so near for so long. And I think they'll put up a great display because like no, okay, the Roscommon pitch is good now. High Park, fine pitch, very, very big. It'll be a tough game, but I'd expect them to get through. But like they know what to expect because Turin, you know what you're going to get. They're very organised. They're well able to hurl. Maybe 9 or 10 of them will be playing for Mayo, if not more than that. And I think they've a lad or two back from Australia that were gone last year, so they would be stronger this year. But Eyrecourt are a seasoned team this year, and like their tradition in Meelick Eyrecourt will be very strong. And after getting through, say the county this year, I think they'll want to push on and go further.
They're really well set up, aren't they? Even as that Kinvara game went on and the way they finished it, but even I suppose denying Kinvara the goal they wanted, it's the one thing you would say about this Aircourt team that they're hard to break down. But and as you mentioned, they've plenty of scorers to an attack.
Yeah, well, you see, Lawn is quite good goalie. Like he can do great things. Now, any goalie can make mistakes, but he's a good keeper. Like Martin Corcoran, one of the days a cornerback. The last he was full back, played very well, and you have the two downies there. These lads are seasoned. You won't get away easy for them. Two wing backs are playing well, the Corey and Tracy. Like now they keep moving around midfield, but like you have different lads coming and going. Like McDermott was there the last. These guys, you have Fleming, McDermott. There's two Flemings. Like Niall Fleming had a great game the last day, and up front, Airner. I think I have never seen Nathan Airner as fit as he is now. Like, and it shows he was always been able to hurl, but the fitness level now makes it easier for him to hurl. And you have two very dangerous corner forwards in Gohary and McAvoy. So like they have what it takes to win. Now you still have to go out and do it because Turin will be very, very, very fit. But like to be fair to Turin, they're flying that flag, the whole time. They are the kind of the strength of Mayo, and they are the strongest club team in the rest of Connacht. Every year is supposed to be fair to them, and like more like up to last year, like they had a great run against all the teams. They had a few Connacht titles won in a row. Very unlucky not to win a Club All Ireland. Very, very unlucky. Monaleen, the Limerick team, beat them, and like you'd have to
Mm.
say that Turin were unlucky. So going on that, it'll be hard to be, but I think Meelick Eyrecourt will get over them. Like it'll be tight, but hopefully the weather is dry.
Yeah, as you mentioned there, I suppose a couple of their stronger Mayo players, David Kenny, who's been on the Mayo panel, Liam Lavin around midfield, Shane Boland, then as well, Fergal Boland, the Mayo footballer, Daniel Juan, their captain, and inside Kenny Feeney's been there for quite a while for them too inside. So a real strong spine in that Turin team as well.
Oh yeah, like you can't expect just because of from Mayo, there's no point in thinking that it's going to come easy. You know what I mean? Like you'd have like it's funny. Turin are a great club. Ballyhaunis getting strong as well, and most of the Ballyhaunis guys that set up the club and kind of over the club are from Turin, like just in the road. So that can happen. So you know they know what to expect. But like I still think by the time the weekend is over, that Meelick Eyrecourt will have won a Connacht title.
James Downey at number 6 for Meelick Eyrecourt. He's given them a great outlet, isn't he? I was chatting to him last week and I was asking him how did he end up at number 6 because he was a player who predominantly played in the forwards and he just said he was away travelling and he came back and that's where he ended up. But I suppose his striking on the ball it gives Meelick Eyrecourt such an outlet out from the back.
Yeah, well, like as you know, like number six is a very important position. Like, and if you have a good number six, this guy is holding the center. He's not being dragged around, like, and he's very strong on the ball. And as he said, he came back from traveling. But you see, when they were without him, they had Fleming and these as back centre back. But getting them back, they had to push the Flemings forward. You know what I mean? Say midfield, another leg on centre forward, like that. It pushes the strength up front, and that they have their strongest team. I'd say they have their strongest panel available for the last. Always was someone injured or someone gone. This time around, it seems to have everyone, and that you kind of need that to make the breakthrough. So they're like, no more than that, like Doreen have Les back as well. But I just feel that at this moment in time that really Kerkert in a great position to win a Connacht title.
In fairness, for me to Eyrecourt, there is a sense that this is a rare opportunity, and you consider Premier Intermediate coming in obviously next year. They don't know when they'll be back here again in a Connacht Intermediate Championship.
Yeah, well, you see, that's the tough end of it in the sense like that. it's tough after they win it that there's no promotion. And like as you know, Paul, like next year, that's going to be a fantastic competition, but it's going to be harder to come out. There's no guarantee whoever you go for next year, anything can happen in that competition. Like there's no guarantee that Meelick Eyrecourt will win it again. Now, that they'll be in a great position if they can win a Club All Ireland now, saying they'll be a great position to come into it. But it's hard. It's just hard to pick it up again. You've seen Teen Abbott in Ireland this year, very unlucky in the All Ireland final, put up a great display and got it very hard to get off the ground this year. That can happen as well. So like it's a kind of a big end of the year, and it's a bigger year next year for Meelick Eyrecourt, because what they need to do is to drive on next year.
It is an opportunity too if they're to get over the line. Obviously, there will be a chance that they'll book their place into an All Ireland semi final. Now I know it's not something they'll be thinking of, but you do consider get over this weekend. They're only 60 minutes away from Croke Park then.
Yeah, it's a big thing. Like, it's a fantastic feeling. Like, as you know, for any club team to get to Croke Park and represent your parish above in Croke Park, and like the kids can come, the schools can come, everyone can come. There's no, everything is available, and it's a great occasion. Like for a team to be there. And if you could win, I remember now, Ardmore Marie are the only ones that have kind of won once, so
Hmm.
like, harder to win. Now you'd expect from next year on, it'll be stronger teams going into it. But like everyone goes in with the idea of winning, and like some teams have played very well up there. Like so, it's a big, it's a great position for them to be in. Like they're there now. They have the final one. I know they probably celebrate it well, but it's like there's a good feel factor around the place, I'd say. Like, and will have a big following in Roscommon and on the weekend.
Yeah, I know you mentioned him earlier, Nathan Erner, with the scores from place balls this year and his presence at full forward has been huge for them. But in fairness to John Fleming, he's kept the performances that he showed earlier with the county throughout the club campaign this year as well for them.
Oh, he has, yeah. The two are very good, and so is Niall Fleming. Very, very good the last year. But they're all able to score. They're all able to do their bit. Like, even the subs coming on, like they didn't weaken the team. Like, but Aaron to me has been the big thing with Aaron. Is always able to hurl, always good hurl. But he's fitter now than ever he was, and it makes it easier. You know what I mean? When you get up to that level of fitness, McAvoy and Goher in the corner, they're dangerous. Like Lyons is dangerous. Like, and even the boys coming on, like McDermott, these days, they're good hurdlers. Like they have great tradition. Like the like Meelick represented, say, first All Ireland ever, going way back. And in my time, like any lad who ever got from Eyrecourt for a county team, like would never let you down. You know what I mean? There was kind of something. There's a resilience in them, like that. They're no back down anyway. That's for sure. Like whatever about being carried off or sent off, they won't back off.
It'd be huge for a club too, though, wouldn't it? They're obviously joined up with Clymer at underage. They've had their fair struggles, it's safe to say it. Um, but at underage level, they've joined together with Clymer as father Joe Walsh's, just due to the lack of numbers, I suppose, out there. But I suppose for the club to push on and win in Connacht and keep that feel good factor going for another few weeks, it'd be huge.
Oh, to be massive, Paul. That'd be the big thing. It gives such a boost to a parish. Like if Meelick Eyrecourt win on Sunday, there'll be no winter in the parish at all, because like they will be on a high. You know what I mean? They're 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 fanatic about their hurling anyway. Like when you think of, say, go way back the time, like if you look at the families that have been involved, like they've all have been brothers in arms. Like, and there's always kind of one or two or three brothers from different families, and they've given a lot to the club and to the county, but like this would be unreal. You know what I mean? They'd take another step. I don't think the players would realise how big it'll be to the parish if they can win a Connacht title, because like again it'll kind of get them over the Christmas, and then to put them in a great position for next year to get a run. Like, and you know when you're getting a move like that or in a groove, you don't know where these guys could stop. They could go the whole way because they're around long enough. They're not new. They're fairly hardy. They're able to take to it won't affect them. Like the hard tackles. The kind of the robustness of some of the other teams. I don't think it'll affect them at all.
What do you think the Meath Aircourt management have done to get them over the line this year?
Well, I suppose like they've been there. Niall Lynch, they have a lot of local fellas now. I would Larkin, Michael Larkin. I'd know them to say hello to and talk to. Wouldn't know well, but they have actually a coach from our own club in Cahill O'Byrne, and he would be very modern. Like he'd be one of the new young coaches coming through. a good fella, like, and like he'd be big into coaching. And like even early on in the year, he was telling me like that he was there last year, saying that he find like that things were starting to come together more. Like he didn't know, like they were coming together. Training was going well, and he got lads back, and that was back from injury. That was the big thing. And I was saying to him like, if you get moving at all, some of the games early on were sticky enough, like, and they'd be expected, Paul. It was expected that they'd get through, but yet other years to be expected as well, and they weren't getting through. But now they found themselves in the final after winning it. After winning it, I think they'll be weight off their shoulders, and like I think they'll go on to bigger things.
Does Tyreen's experience of a Connacht final does that count for much this weekend?
It would help them. They won't be afraid. Like, most teams saying playing a Galway team. If you were playing in Connacht, it was a Galway team versus whoever. The Galway team would be expected to be better hurlers and kind of, more organised and better. But like Turin have proved, they're the one team that has proved that they're well capable of winning Connacht titles and beating Galway teams. You know what I mean? And even last year, Teen Abbott and I put them to the pin of their collar to beat them. Like, and it'll be the same again. But I'd be backing Meelick Eyrecourt to come out on top.
Yeah, that one gets underway on Saturday at 1:30 in Hyde Park. At the same time, then at 1:30 in the Connacht GA Centre of Excellence in Beacon, Ballinasloe take on Easkey. Easkey going for four in a row at Connacht Junior Championship level. But in fairness to Ballinasloe, they've made no bones about it this year. They've said it, I suppose, in different interviews that this has been a big target for them to get their hands on a Connacht Championship.
Yeah, they made it quite clear that after the county final, when the big Kiltrauma say in the county final in Athenry, they made it quite clear they were adamant that okay, it was great to win, but they want to win the Connacht title. Is that game, Paul, on Saturday or Sunday? That junior game?
That's Saturday at the same time as Eyrecourt.
Yeah, but like the last few years they've been winning these county titles, but you can see they're improving, Paul, and also they have there's a following now. They're following them now, which is great to see. And again, last Sunday or last weekend in Ballinasloe, they were well on top of Maitura, who were kind of amalgamation of a few teams. No, Maitura tried hard, but Ballinasloe kind of on top of them. Like again, they have the team settled. Now, they were missing their full back runners the last day, but Coleman, one of the Colemans went in there. But you have the two Potters in the half back line, and the Coleman quite good. Mitchell playing very well. Casey in goals, and there's Cunningham and Connacht and these guys around the middle, but up front they're dangerous. Like O'Hanlon is playing great stuff now. He's their free taker, but he's also a very good hurler to get on the ball. You had Evan Hayes last day picking his few points. You had Jennings the same, Shannon scoring here and there. Coffee, they're picking their scores here and there. Now the last day they got it hard enough early on to get going. In the first half, it was sticky enough, and like they weren't putting the Maitura away. Now it was a bit of a breeze, but like I've seen them now 2 or 3 times, and it seems that as the game goes on, Paul, they seem to grow into it and get better and better. And the same thing happened the last day. Like they wound up winning 1-7 to 1-8, 117 to 1-8. Like, but like
1-7 to 118, I think it was in the end, yeah.
70 worked out. But like the as the second half went on, they got on top more and more and more, and that seems to be their kind of the way they're playing. And after winning that tonight, we're saying we want to win a Connacht title. Now Easkey are good. Easkey are very good. Like they've proved themselves over the last few years as well. Most of these fellas will be playing for Sligo. Some of them play football as well, but they are a good team. Like, but now Ballinasloe played them. They know what they're like. And again, I think Ballinasloe are better, much better this year. They're even more or less the same. Well, it's a different team now. There's a lot of different heads on it, but they're a more seasoned team now, and they kind of know what they want. And the county final wasn't the end of the road for them. They wanted this, so it's a big one for them. And like again, they'll have a big following. They'll have a good following, and I can see them getting through. Even though they'll have to play, they'll have to start better anyway because you can't afford to start too slow.
Yeah, it does really feel like they've been building, even if you take it back to a few years ago, like they were a junior B team, and the way they've rose up the ranks there as well it's been impressive, hasn't it?
And it has, yeah. And the big thing is like as well, Paul, like now they have a club, an adult team that when the young lads are coming through, they have an adult team to go on to. There was a few years there, good young fellas coming through, no adult team really to go on to, and they were kind of going different clubs. Not the kind of going out to hurl to get hurling. That was fine, but now they have the adult team there, and the young fellas that are coming through are going on to another team, which is the big thing. And it's great to see. It's lovely to even to win, and even the Stewarts in Ballinasloe there when they had a win earlier on in the year, they were saying, "Gee, did you see the match last weekend?" No, I wasn't at one of the matches earlier on, and they were saying it was great to win. You could see that they were over the moon to win, which was great. Which is great. And even the last day, like against my tour, they had a big following. I know it was in Ballinasloe, but they have done the same like in Athenry. They have a good following, and they're vocal, which is good as well.
Yeah, it does really feel like they're going to have to get to the best level they've ever got this weekend if they're going to overturn Eastleigh.
They're going to have to. I feel they'll have to, and they'll have to start faster. You know what I mean? They're able to all they're fit and all that, but it's the start that they're kind of slow on. And Eastleigh are good. These lads are used to winning, and they're used to playing Connacht finals and winning them. So I think Niall O'Meara was up there for a few years with them as well. From Killarney coached them there. These lads are good.
Yeah, Porrick Mannion from Ballygar is actually the Eastleigh coach.
This year.
Yeah,
Yeah, and O'Meara was there for you, yeah. Which they he's not going to weaken them he know
yeah. He was
that.
previously over Sligo and he's with
Yeah,
Mayo this year, I think. Yeah.
that's the thing. He'd know them, and they will be hard to beat. There's no doubt about that. But it'd be great for Ballinasloe, for Hurling in Ballinasloe, if they could win that kind of title.
Yeah, there's some real quality in the younger players. Was one thing I noticed from the Kiltormy game and the county final with Evan Hayes, Niall Jennings, Carl O'Hanlon, and these players do.
Yeah, they're young and but they're strong. They're fit and they're energetic, and they look at known from Ballinasloe. They probably kick soccer and they probably kick rugby as well and football. They'd be involved in everything. But over the last 2 or 3 years, I'd say, Paul, the hurling it's becoming their first game. Now they played others as well, but it's great to see that happening, because in the town sometimes it can be hard to hold them. They can go to different games. So if you're out the country, you only usually have one team. Usually, to be just hurling, maybe football. But in the town now, you'd have a lot of different things going on. But this bunch seem to have grown together and kind of have come through the underage ranks together. And there's a kind of a camaraderie among them that you can see, which is what you want really.
Just for Ballinasloe, we made the point earlier with Meelick Eyrecourt would become Premier Intermediate, but Premier Junior next year there's obviously Anna Down, Kilbacon T, Abbeyknockmoy and Ceylon are all going to come down to the junior level into Premier Junior next year. For Ballinasloe to get over the line this weekend, and I suppose there'll be a renewed sense of belief even with those teams coming down next year if they're to get their hands on a Connacht title this weekend.
Oh yeah, you see, they have been around. They have they're kind of around the block for the last years, Ballinasloe, and kind of winning and improving all the time. And as I say, these crowds seem to be more tuned into the hurling. Okay, they might play other sports, but the hurling seems to be their first sport, which is a big help. And if they can win a Connacht title, they will believe they can hold their own, and they will hold their own, because there's that kind of a good feel factor, and the crowd are following them, which is what you want as well. Once you get a town or a parish behind the team, it can and get starting to win. It can evolve, and that's just look at Loughrea, for example. They've got a great kind of a following now, and the parish isn't that big, but there's a great following, because after the last few years have been there or thereabouts, and that's what you have to have to get a following really.
Just before I finish, Cyril, I don't know if you got to many of these games, but the post-primary hurling championship is underway in Galway at the minute. Um, the way the groups sit at the minute. Gort in Group Two you have Gore Community School, Claregalway and Bridges. Gore Community School they bet Bridges Loughrea in the first game. They play Claregalway this Thursday in Gore GA Club, and obviously if Gort are to win that game they'll go through as top of the group in Group Two. The big result, I suppose, in Group One was Rayfield's overturning Athenry first day out.
Yeah, but if Rafe, both look at they're doing a lot of good work in all the colleges. Now you just don't know who's missing the first day out.
Mm.
You see, this is the thing. After I could be missing a few lads tied up with clubs. That Rafe is the same thing, but Rafes are doing a lot. They've really the last few years with Franny Ford and John Hardiman, all these lads. Sean Parran, there's another young Hardiman in there. Young Kennedy. These lads, they're doing a lot of work in there. But so are the other colleges. Gort have put a big effort in, have a good team, and told this year as well. Like, Bridges will always be strong. And Athenry, look at Athenry, have been very unlucky, Paul, the last few years not to win a club, not to win a colleges All Ireland, and again they have a good team. Like, it's the big thing in Connacht now at the moment is you have Clare Galway as well, and you have, say, Gort, you have Athenry, the two teams in Loughrea competing at A. You have a good competition and a good standard. Like some of the colleges would have big numbers, and they might be going back down to B to win it, which to me now shouldn't be allowed. Like, you should have the big colleges definitely play in A, because that's the only way you're going to improve the standard in colleges. That you need to be playing like a top stuff, even for the fellas playing it. So, like, there is a difference for college hurling between A and B. And then when the lads go back to the clubs, if they're playing A, it's a big help if you have enough numbers to compete in that grade. Like Athenry have proved the last few years they've been unlucky. Rayfields have been in an All Ireland as well and played great stuff against a hot Kieran's team. Supposed to be blowing them out of the water, and they wind up it's a draw, and Kieran's win in extra time. So, like, it's hard to win. It's hard
Do
to
you
win.
think maybe do you think maybe, Cyril, it's something maybe to look at of only having six teams at A level, maybe to extend it to something like eight? Because if you're looking for Cala Sanchez, even the group they're in with Rayfields and Aston Rye this year, like it's a tough jump for them after, I suppose, doing so well in B, and now they're up with two teams like that. But maybe even to extend it out to eight, and as you talk about, get more teams maybe at the A level there.
Yeah, well, like, you see, my belief is that if the school has, say, 500 or 600 pupils, they should be playing A. It was never meant. The B was never meant, or C was never meant for the big schools. It was meant for the smaller schools. And, like, to me, like, Kellis chances be willing to hold their own. They have a good pick, and they're good hurlers. Same with Portumna. Like, they have people coming in from Portumna, Clymer, Tina, Laura, bit of Eyrecourt, all hurling backgrounds. They should be up in A as well, because they have good numbers. They'll have that. So now they will probably get up there, but, like, you'd love to see them up there the whole time, because I think they'll hold their own once they're up there. But, like, you'll get your standard higher once you have to get there. Like, so, like, Calais Sanchez will be there as well. Clare Galway are coming as well now, Paul. They have good big numbers, lads over them there. Sir Don is there, Colin Flynn, these guys, they're willing to put in the work. You know what I mean? Once you have the numbers and put in the work, you're going to be there or thereabouts. It's the smaller schools that you could have great lads over them, but, like, they won't have the numbers to really compete at A. The B and C should be for them, if you know what I mean. Bigger schools should be up in A.
Yeah, definitely feels like that. Just a word as well, NUI Galway, they're actually playing, or University of Galway, shall I say, are playing UCD in the Division One Senior Hurling League as well. That's on Thursday night in Dangan at 8 o'clock. I suppose after last year, probably I think University of Galway and ATU will probably be looking to push on, considering they weren't there, I suppose, in the latter stages of the Fitzgibbon either.
Yeah, well, you see, the first round last year, I think NUIG were beat. You see, you need to win your first game if you could get on the right foot and get there. But, like, that third level, that's a high standard. You know what I mean? Like, you're playing all the guys on all the college teams are probably on. Paul, at this stage, they're all on development panels, whether it is a senior
Hmm.
panel or an under 20 panel or wherever. Like, they're all on panels. There's very few on minor panels, because they wouldn't be that young going in. They'll be all 18 or 19 now. But, like, if you go up, say, to UL and see the first years, say, having a match among themselves, you're probably 80 to 100 hurlers, all trying for 30 places, and all probably intercounty minors. You know what I mean? That's the standard that's there. But it's a great competition. And, like, it's a good competition for lads to play in and get up to that level, because all of a sudden you could find a lad from Galway saying, sure, he's playing, say, wing back with a guy centre back from Kilkenny or something, that you'll find the Kilkenny lads or the Cork lads, they're no different to any of us, just that they have a different jersey when they're playing for their county. It can give lads great confidence, and you're mixing with different types, which it's an education in itself, like hurling education.
Yeah, but you just would hope with this year that the Fitzgibbon players, I suppose, with the World Cup coming back, that it's going to be a tough balance for lads now trying to make it with, I suppose, the county squads and playing Fitzgibbon at the same time.
Yeah, that's you definitely want kind of good relationships between the county manager and, say, the manager the NUIG team or of the regional college team, because like if you don't, you're going to have that's burnt out. Like that's there should be, there should be good cooperation, not to kill a fellow out altogether. Because you see, you're going to find that the county manager will want the lads training and playing, and you're going to find that the lad over the Fitzgibbon team will want them as well, because their competition is on early, like So, strictly speaking, there was a rule there that the college had first call, like for the Fitzgibbon, but that doesn't work the whole time. It only works if the two managers are kind of are all kind of working together, which I think is important. Not to, like that way they'll save the players.
I was just looking at different Galway men maybe who are, I suppose, having new jobs for 2026. I did see there that Sean Tracy has gone up to Ballinamere in Offaly for next year.
Yeah, good team. Yeah, Tracy be a good coach as well. Like that, he's big into it. Ballinamere will be good. Like they'll be thereabouts, and you can see already it's an early appointment, if you know what I mean. Clubs like there's this no sooner over and they're thinking of the next year. Like it's a good sign that they've already signed him in the sense that means that club is serious, Paul. That they feel that they can be winning the title.
Yeah, I believe from what I was reading that Damien Coleman's gone up with him as well.
Yeah,
Um,
they would have been together in Provincial. They kind of work as a tandem.
yeah, yeah. Most notably, a lot of Galway involvement with Leach this year. Jeff Linsky's obviously gone in Tommy Fitzgerald's backroom team, and Joe Kane as well from Portumna involved in the backroom team too.
Yeah, sure. Look, we have lads ever like Jeffrey be a top coach, like had a great success underage in Galway, and was with Fitzgibbon teams. Very unlucky, but he's big into it like as well. And you have Niall Corcoran as well, gone with Kilkenny. Eddie Brennan has gone in there, and he's brought him because the two of them were together in Laois. Like you have lads. It's
Tony O'Gregan as well with Leash. I knew there was a third one as well.
Yeah, it's good because, like, but the big thing is that, then hopefully when all this kind of move around is over, that Galway will wind up with, say, down the line, some of these lads will be back in Galway in future times. Like, it's good to have, you need lads coming with experience, like, and, we won't, isn't the thing you can buy, you have to go and get it. I think it's good to see the fellas involved because, like, they'll go back eventually to their clubs or back to Galway or somewhere else again. They'll always give it back.
Brian Hanley got in over Roscommon too.
Yeah, look at they won their championship last year. Like kind of we're lucky enough to beat Mayo. But again, like sure, Brian, you see the thing about these guys, Brian Hanley, Jeffrey, all these lads, they love the game. Like you know what I mean. They're going to be with someone, or they might be gone for a year, but they're back with someone else again. That's the way it is. If you look closely, it's more or less the same fellas in the circle, but there's younger lads coming in, which is what you need.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we wish all of those best of luck in their roles for next year. But that's all we do time for on today's show. Thanks to Cyril for coming on.